Hello, my friends. This is The Art of Prepping. Hope you guys are doing well today. So let's talk about basic emergency kit components. I have a list I put together for the beginner. I've been getting a lot of requests for this type of video. There's a lot of new subscribers, hundreds and hundreds of new subscribers in the last few weeks that have joined. And I just want to say welcome aboard, and I hope this information is helpful. So I want to now jump into this list and just to give you a bigger picture view of a basic emergency kit. And of course, this is, a starting point. This is not something that, you would just do and say, oh, I'm done. You'd want to build off of this. But this is a good first level or first tier goal to achieve. And so let's start. The first is water, to have 14 gallons of water per person. So this translates out to 1 gallon per person per day for 2 weeks. It's also good to have a little extra water put to the side for cooking or washing your clothes or just, sanitation reasons, and also to flush toilets. So it would be good to have some extra water, whatever that may be for you. You have to kind of just figure that out in a 2-week period of time. How much water, extra water would you need for just those things? But also don't forget to have some type of backup system in case you run out of water. So that if you have to go out to a pond or a lake or a stream or a river or whatever and collect water, it could even be rainwater, you'd want to make sure that it's safe to use. And one of the easiest ways to make water safe is to just filter it. And so you get a good water filter. And you could use chemicals and you could boil the water, but it's a lot more, labor intensive, and it could be not the healthiest thing, in particular to use chemicals. So just to have a good water filter or water purifier that can get all those nasties out is going to be very desirable. And these water filters don't have to cost very much at all. So just look around and see what you can afford and just get the best quality one that you can get. Also, water bottles and canteens. If there's a possibility that you may need to leave the house, it's really good to bring water with you. So to have a few water bottles is going to be very good. Next is food. Shelf-stable foods is very, desirable to have as part of an emergency kit. 2-week supply is a good starting point. That's a very small supply, but it's still a lot better than nothing. You'd probably want to build this supply of mostly canned goods and dried foods, okay? And then you rotate those foods. For some people, the type of foods they get requires rotation every 6 months. For other people, it might be once a year, whatever is appropriate for your food type. And don't forget to store some can openers. Also, don't forget to store some food for your pets, right? And don't just buy bland food. Get some things that have a little flavor. Get some snack food too, because you know how it's going to be. You're going to be wanting, to have some more fun food. And don't forget the snacks for your pets as well. Next is light sources. Just get yourself a good quality headlamp, a handheld light, and a lantern. Those are 3 good options. If you really want to go the next level, get an extra headlamp and an extra handheld light, and make sure you get plenty of spare batteries. And look at a renewable power source. Maybe it's solar panel or something that you can recharge your batteries from. So that's going to be really nice. And also have a nice power bank, so that you can power things when there's no sun. You can power things over longer periods of time. Next is the emergency weather radios. There's a whole host of different kinds out there. Most of them have AM and FM band. Some of them even have shortwave bands. I think it's really good to get yourself a good quality radio. And don't go with just the real cheesy ones that are like $10. They typically don't hold up as well. Two-way radios could be an option as well if you're in a group. And if you think that group is going to split off at some point and do activities separately, you may want to keep up with each other. So just a decent two-way radios could be something that could be helpful in an emergency. First aid kits. Trauma supplies and the skills to use all this supplies is going to be really highly advisable. Now, that's a big mouthful of things just to spill out. So you first want to research what a trauma kit really is and what kind of supplies that you would want to put in that kit. There's general first aid kits all over the place. Those are pretty easy to get in a pre-made fashion. So it's not really hard to find all this stuff. But for a lot of people, they just don't know much about the trauma supplies and how to use the trauma supplies. So that's something that you'd want to learn about. Next is shelter, tarps, tents, blankets, bivvies, sleeping bags, and also having good warm clothing in case, for whatever reason, you can't find shelter. Maybe your home is damaged. And if you can't stay in your home overnight, you may have to just sleep out in the yard in a tent. You want to focus on wool and synthetic clothing and materials over just cotton. You want to have extra backup footwear. And you definitely want to have various backups when it comes to heating sources as well in the home. So you don't want to just rely on just your electric or electric power, the electrical grid, because that can go out, and it does go out for a lot of people throughout the year. Tools, multi-tools, handheld saws, tape, cordage, things like that. Whatever you tend to use the most, make sure you have a good supply of that. Even a comprehensive toolkit for the home is really advised. Some of this can get expensive. You just get what you can afford at first, and you build on that over time. Sanitation. This can be very simple. Just a case of wet wipes, a good number of hand sanitizer bottles, some garbage bags, liquid soap. Just try to find some liquid soaps, though, that don't require a lot of water to use. That would be beneficial. But yeah, overall, just have some options to keep yourself clean. Navigation gear. It could be a GPS, compass, maps. If you're just going to stay at home, you pretty much don't need any of this, obviously. But if you have to leave the home and you get far enough from the home, you may not be familiar with the area. So you want to have at least something. At least a map. To help you kind of get to where you're trying to go or to avoid whatever you're trying to avoid. Next is going to be the means to make fire. So to put together just a simple fire kit, it could be a few fire starters, could be lighters, matches, fire steel, have some type of tinder in the kit, a basic fire platform. So if you're outside, you can build your fire onto something so it doesn't get too wet or damp, especially if you're building it on like snow. So having a sheet of aluminum foil could be something that you could use as a platform. And for those also that are working outside, you might want to have some type of wind screen just to prevent the wind from blowing your flame out. Next is to keep your passport, if you have one, in your go bag or in a kit that you can bring with you. Currency, to have some currency available. So, paper currency for your country to allow yourself to buy food and shelter if you're out and about in an emergency. Signal supplies. This could be as simple as a whistle or a bright bandana. For those who may have flares, you could use that. You could go, and get like strobe beacons and all this, but that's not really necessary for the beginner. Just have some simple things that can get someone's attention. A handheld light, you can strobe that, or you can flash that device and you get attention with that as well. Healthy distractions. Now this is for everyone. During an emergency, there tends to be a lot of time, that you're kind of waiting for things to kind of settle, or, before you can react to certain things or do certain things. So maybe having some good books would be beneficial for some people. Maybe for other people, it's games, or for younger kids, toys, even for your pets. Have some toys for your pets. Self-defense. This is something that I think is definitely important. A lot of people don't want to think about this because it is kind of scary on some level that you would have to defend yourself. But there's a lot of options out there. And, I think that if you train with this stuff, you're not going to have the same fear. So let's look at some primitive options. Could be a baseball bat. Most people have that. So, there you go. If you want to go to a more formal device that's still very primitive, a baton. They have all kinds of different types of batons. Blades. It could be anything from a kitchen blade to, outdoor survival blade, or it could be a blade that's just meant for self-defense. But in a pinch, you can use pretty much any blade to defend yourself. More advanced options would include firearms, pepper spray or pepper gel, and body armor. So those are some things to consider. And just want to thank you guys for stopping by. And I hope that your journey to preparedness is a smooth one, and that you get comfort from building at first here a basic emergency kit. And I hope this components list is very beneficial for you and your family. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.